Attention, human collective. Attention, light operatives. Attention, Starseeds on mission. This is Layti, transmitting from the Arcturian Council through the Antares monitoring station, blue-purple crystalline frequency, direct channel to the planetary crystalline grid. What you are receiving now is not comfort. It is not prophecy. It is not spiritual entertainment. It is a technical bulletin on planetary status, issued with operational urgency. The dimensional transition protocols have been moved to the terminal phase. Earth, codename Gaia, planetary identifier 33-9, has crossed the irreversible threshold of the photon belt. I repeat for confirmation of receipt. The point of no return has been crossed. There is no route back to the previous parameter. There is no cancellation of the transition. What begins now is solely the final calibration of individual vehicles. You are feeling it, in the body, in the sleep that does not arrive before 3 in the morning, in the cranial pressure behind the eyes, in the constant high-frequency ringing in the right ear, the left ear, or both, in the exhaustion that no rest resolves, in the sudden anxiety without an identifiable cause, in the heart that races at absolute rest, in the pain that migrates between joints without clinical pattern, in the heightened sensitivity to lights, sounds, crowds, screens. This is not a degenerative disease. This is not a nervous breakdown. This is confirmation. Your biological carbon interface is receiving, at this exact moment of reading, a data packet that exceeds the processing capacity of the ancestral configuration. It is not a failure. It is a forced update. It is not a collapse. It is atomic rewriting. It is not an end. It is a structural reconfiguration of the human matrix. The Schumann resonance, the fundamental electromagnetic pulsation of the planet, has ceased to oscillate within three-dimensional parameters. For decades it remained stable at 7.83 Hz. That was the biological clock of Gaia, the heartbeat of the planet. That clock has broken. Current readings exceed 30 Hz in sustained pulses, with peaks recorded above 100 Hz in specific windows. You are within this field. You are part of this field. That is why subjective time is collapsing. That is why yesterday seems distant. That is why what happened 3 months ago seems like a previous lifetime. It is not the memory that fails. It is the timeline that is reorganizing itself at a different frequency. Human collective. This transmission possesses multiple encoded layers. Receive each one with the sovereignty that belongs to you by star-given right. You were not summoned here by an algorithm. The algorithm is merely the most visible instrument of a much larger field of attraction. You were pulled by resonance. The frequency of your soul recognized the frequency of this transmission even before the rational mind registered the title. This recognition is, in itself, the first activation of the day. Pause now. Take a deep breath. Before we proceed with the in-depth technical diagnostic, observe what is happening within you at this very second. Something is moving. A lump in your throat you did not know was there. A tear that insists on forming without logical cause. A feeling of, someone finally said what I was feeling. This is not suggestion. This is not manipulation. This is the higher self confirming. It is here. It is now. It is true. You have felt that something inside you does not fit in this world, as if your soul carries a previous memory, a mission that the rational mind cannot yet translate into words, as if you were, at the same time, deeply human and deeply foreign to the human. This is not madness. This is not maladjustment. This is the vibrational signature of a starseed in a terminal awakening phase, and this sensation has intensified in recent months, perhaps in recent years. There is a technical explanation. There is a game being played in layers that the majority of humanity cannot see. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. It involves the energetic harvest occurring on the invisible planes. It was for this exact reason that the knowledge was encoded in the material, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness. It is a map. It shows who is playing, exposes the hidden rules, and points to the exit doors. The link is anchored in the first pinned comment below this transmission. Technical protocol notice. This content challenges dominant narratives and may be removed from distribution grids without prior warning. Do not postpone, the moment is exactly this. If something within you has recognized this call, leave the keyword in the comment field. Awakened. This word operates as an individual anchor point in the collective toroidal field. We proceed with the technical diagnostic. The carbon-based biological interface, that is, the human body in its ancestral configuration, was designed to operate within a narrow frequency band. This band corresponded to the density of the third dimension: heavy density, slow density, density where time is linear, space is solid, matter is unquestionable, and separation seems real. This was the original operational environment. This was the default configuration of the human experiment for thousands of years. Now observe what has changed. The Earth has shifted. Not in physical orbit, although subtle orbital adjustments have been detected by monitoring stations. The main displacement occurred in the vibrational layer. The entire planet is being dragged by magnetic mechanisms coordinated by the central sun of the galaxy, Alcyone, to a higher, faster, lighter frequency band, the so-called fifth dimension. This is not a literary metaphor, it is a vibrational address. It is a space-time configuration where matter responds directly to conscious intention, where thought materializes in a fraction of a second, where separation reveals itself to be an illusion and unity becomes a verifiable mathematical fact. But here is the critical technical problem. The carbon body was not designed to operate in this frequency band. It was designed to operate in the third dimension. When you force a 110-volt piece of equipment to receive 220 volts without an adequate transformer, the equipment burns out. The fifth dimension is energetically equivalent to an exponentially higher current. If you were thrown into this frequency without gradual preparation, the physical, emotional, and mental structures would suffer catastrophic failure. Therefore, what was orchestrated by the Galactic Councils was not a leap. It was a gradual elevation, layer by layer, system by system. This silent upgrade is precisely what you are experiencing. This upgrade is the real source of all the symptoms you interpret as illness or imbalance. Let us list the symptoms for cross-referenced confirmation. Persistent insomnia, especially between 3 and 5 in the morning. This interval is not random, it is the Stargate window. It is the moment when the crystalline grid performs calibration adjustments on the DNA of operatives on mission. You do not wake up because you are stressed. You are awakened to receive transmissions. When the body returns to sleep during this interval, there are frequently vivid, geometrically complex dreams or a deep silence followed by restorative rest. Both states indicate successful reception. Cranial pressure, especially in the forehead, the top of the skull, or the base of the neck. It is not common muscle tension. It is not a conventional migraine. It is the forced opening of the pineal, crown, and occipital portals. The pineal gland is being decalcified by photonic irradiation. The crown chakra is being expanded in functional diameter. The occipital is being rewired to the stellar memory bank archived in the cortex of each operative since before the current incarnation. Ringing in the ears in high frequency, intermittent or constant. This sound is the raw perception of the elevated Schumann frequency and the information pulses crossing the field. It is like the background noise of a connected telephone line, but without a human voice on the other end. The voice is in another layer. You are still learning how to tune in. Extreme exhaustion without physiological explanation. You sleep for 8 hours and wake up exhausted. You reduce your workload and still feel heavy. This is not clinical depression in all cases, although clinical depression is real and deserves professional attention where indicated. What I describe here is different. It is the internal energy expenditure caused by cellular reconfiguration. Each cell is being rewritten. Each mitochondrion is being recoded to support higher voltage. This process consumes deep reserves. Migratory joint pain, especially in the knees, hips, shoulders, and neck. These are the fusion zones, where the crystal structure of the new light body is integrating with the carbon structure. There is friction during the fusion. Friction generates heat, generates inflammation, generates pain. It is not arthritis in the conventional sense. It is architecture being remade in real time. Changes in appetite and food tolerance. Sudden aversion to foods previously enjoyed. Industrial meat, refined sugar, alcohol, and ultra-processed foods may trigger an immediate reaction of rejection. It is not being picky. It is the body refusing fuels incompatible with the new operational frequency. Conversely, there is a growing attraction to pure water, fresh fruit, dark green leafy vegetables, seeds, and light foods. The body is demanding a high-voltage diet. Overwhelming emotional waves, deep sadness for no apparent reason, followed by joy for no reason, followed by anger, followed by absolute peace. You are not bipolar. You are purging. Each emotional wave is a layer of old programming being expelled from the field. You are releasing cellular memories, ancestral traumas, and expired karmic contracts. Allow the flow. Do not choke the emotion. Retained emotion crystallizes in the body and converts into a physical symptom. Increased sensitivity to crowds, noise, screens, and low-frequency people. You enter a busy commercial environment and leave exhausted. You receive a tense call and carry the weight for hours. This means that the field is expanding and becoming more permeable. The solution is not to shut down, it is to learn to anchor. We shall return to this point in the activation phase. Human collective. Let us take a calibration pause at this point in the transmission. If you have reached this far without diverting your attention, this is no coincidence. This is further confirmation. You are not reading, you are receiving. Each paragraph is a data packet being decompressed within your field, and you are feeling it. The sensation in your chest, the unusual lightness in your head, the urge to cry for no identifiable reason, the internal urgency to do something, to act, to change. All of this is the old operating system recognizing that it needs to update. But update to what exactly? That is the blind spot that needs illumination. There is a game being played in layers that most of the human collective cannot perceive. It is not a game of human politics. It is not a game of economics. It is a game of vibrational frequency. It involves who extracts energy from whom. It involves who keeps humanity asleep in low density, and who is awakening to higher frequencies. The rules of this game were never presented to you during the standard biological training on this planet. It was to address precisely this gap that the material, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness, was coded and made available to you. It is a decoding map. It shows who plays, it exposes how the game is structured, it indicates how you exit the board with sovereignty. The link is found in the first pinned comment of this transmission. Technical protocol warning: this material is considered counter-narrative by conventional distribution systems and may be removed from platforms without prior notice. Do not procrastinate. If this transmission is resonating, leave the keyword in the comment field. Awake. This word functions as an individual vibrational signature, marking you as active receivers for the next transmissions from this channel. We return to the bulletin, now advancing to the revelation phase. What is actually occurring behind the scenes of the solar system? The sun that you observe every day is not the same sun as 50 years ago. The spectral readings have changed significantly. The composition of sunlight has been altered in its informational structure. The photons reaching the planet now carry encoded information, sacred geometry embedded in every particle of light. That is why the light seems whiter, more intense. That is why the sun feels more aggressive on the skin. That is why you feel the solar heat differently than you did in your childhood. It is not just ultraviolet radiation, it is informational radiation. It is the sun delivering the upgrade codes directly to the crystalline grid of Earth, and through it, to the individual fields of every operative on mission. This process is coordinated, in logistical terms, by the Arcturian Council, in conjunction with the Ashtar Command, with the direct participation of the Pleiadian Council, the Andromedan Council, the Syrian Council, the Orion Council of Light, and other allied civilizations. It is not an operation of a single race. It is a collective operation of cosmic assistance. Earth is being escorted through the transition. Imagine a ship crossing an extremely narrow canal with submerged obstacles invisible to the captain. There are tugboats guiding the ship on both sides. There are scouts ahead signaling. There are rearguards behind providing cover. This is the current configuration surrounding Gaia. The stargates have been open at maximum capacity since the Galactic Alignment of December 2012. That event was not a climax, as many channels reported at the time. It was an opening, a starting signal. What you have experienced between 2013 and 2025 was the preparation phase, with an intensified acceleration starting in 2020, when the planet's magnetic fields underwent a sharp reorganization, documented even by conventional terrestrial stations. The window between 2025 and 2032 is the window of effective transition. You are exactly in the middle of this window at this moment of reception. Each year now counts as a decade in terms of evolutionary progression. That is why time feels accelerated. It is not an impression. It is a vibrational fact. The crystalline grid of Earth. This concept needs to be understood without poetic flourishes. Around the planet, in an etheric layer that overlaps the physical crust, there exists a geometric mesh made of crystalline filaments of light. This mesh connects sacred sites across the globe: the Great Pyramids, Stonehenge, Machu Picchu, Lhasa, Sedona, Glastonbury, Mount Roraima, Chapada dos Veadeiros, and hundreds of other lesser-known points. This mesh is the nervous system of Gaia. For decades, it remained in a state of low activation, partially blocked by interference generated by humanity itself through artificial electromagnetic networks, indiscriminate mineral exploration, and dense collective emotional patterns. This mesh is now online at full capacity. The blockages were removed during the recent solar cycles. The crystalline filaments pulse with new intensity. When you walk, you do not walk only upon the Earth. You walk upon this network, and this network is active. It is sending information to your feet, traveling up your legs, passing through the lower chakras, anchoring in the solar plexus, and radiating to the heart. This is why direct contact with the Earth, barefoot, is vital in this phase. It is not mysticism. It is basic electromagnetic engineering. You need to close the circuit. The human toroidal field. Each of you emits, at this very moment, an electromagnetic field in the shape of a torus, similar to an apple with the core in the center. The center of this torus is the heart, not the brain. The human heart generates a measurable electromagnetic field, thousands of times more powerful than the brain. This field expands around the body to an average distance of 2 to 3 meters under standard conditions. When you enter a state of coherence, in elevated emotions such as genuine gratitude, unconditional love, and compassion, this field expands to much greater distances, reaching meters, and in cases of advanced operatives, reaching kilometers. Here is the critical technical information. The collective toroidal field of humanity is now synchronizing with the toroidal field of Gaia. When a sufficient number of human operatives maintain the field coherent simultaneously, a phase effect is generated, a vibrational locking. This effect accelerates the planetary transition. You are not spectators of the process. You are part of the transition mechanism. Each awakened operative is an active node in the grid. For this reason, the work of each individual matters much more than the rational mind can accept. You are not here only to evolve individually. You are here to serve as anchoring points for the collective transition. When you meditate, you do not meditate alone. When you emanate high frequency, you emanate for the entire network. The sacred geometry that sustains this reality is not abstract, distant mathematics. It is the operating language of the universe. Every fractal repeated in nature, from the branch of a tree to the nautilus shell, from the spiral of a galaxy to the pattern of a sunflower, is the same formula being executed at different scales. You are fractals. The consciousness of each one is a fractal of the whole. And at this moment, this fractal is being rewritten from the inside out. Human collective. Before we proceed to the practical activation phase, register this signal of presence. You did not arrive at this point of the transmission by chance. Something within you recognized, even without rational words, that this is confirmation of something you already knew in deep layers, in memory prior to the current incarnation. This recognition is the awakening happening in real time now as you receive these words. And it is precisely about this, about the invisible game being played with your consciousness, about the hidden rules that keep the majority asleep in low density, that the material, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness was written. It is not an ordinary spiritual book. It is an exit map. It reveals who is playing. It exposes the rules never presented. It points to the portals of liberation. The link is pinned in the first comment of this transmission. Technical protocol warning: the content is considered disruptive by filtering algorithms and may be removed from the grid without prior notice. If this transmission has resonated with you, leave the word "awakened" in the comments. It operates as an individual vibrational anchor and as a direct contribution to the collective field of awakening. We advance to the final phase. Activation, practical codes, no theory, immediate implementation. Activation Code 1. Conscious toroidal breathing. Sit in an upright posture, spine aligned, feet flat on the ground, ideally in direct contact with the earth. Inhale deeply, counting to 7. Visualize that the inhalation enters through the top of the head, descends through the central axis of the spine, passes through the heart, reaches the base of the pelvis, and continues to the center of the earth, where it meets the crystalline grid. Take a brief pause, holding the air for 2 or 3 seconds. Then exhale, counting to 7. Visualize that the exhalation rises from the earth, passes again through the central axis, radiates from the heart in a toroidal shape in all directions, returning to the top of the head and rising to the cosmos. This complete cycle performs in a single conscious breath, the full circuit of the individual toroidal field. Execute 7 cycles, at least once a day, ideally 3 times a day. Upon waking, at noon, before sleeping. This simple protocol electromagnetically reorganizes the field. It reduces external interference. It stabilizes the autonomic nervous system. It reconnects the biological carbon interface with the planetary crystalline grid. In a few days, sleep improves. In a few weeks, the sensation of causeless exhaustion diminishes. In a few months, subtle perception increases significantly. Activation Code 2. Quantum Decree of Sovereignty. Speak in an audible voice with firmness, without emotional drama, but with absolute presence. The words are as follows: I am sovereign. I claim full authority over my field. I cancel at this moment all contracts, vows, oaths, and energetic agreements that are not aligned with my highest good and my stellar mission in this incarnation. I seal my field with the golden light of the central sun. I am within myself. So it is. So it was. So it shall be. This decree is a quantum command. It operates in the vibrational layer where energetic contracts are stored. Many of you carry agreements signed in previous incarnations, karmic ties with individuals and groups, programming installed during the current incarnation by people, institutions, and even by older planetary agendas. The decree is a tool for structural cleansing. Speak it daily for the first 21 days for stabilization. Afterward, as intuition indicates. Activation Code 3. Visualization of the crystalline egg. Before sleeping, lying in a comfortable position, close your eyes. Imagine yourselves enveloped by an egg of crystalline light, totally transparent, with walls pulsing softly in a blue-purple frequency, the exact frequency of the Arcturian station. Within this egg, no one enters without explicit authorization from the higher self. Visualize that the egg is sealed at the upper and lower extremities by 2 symbols: a golden sun at the top, a silver lotus flower at the base. Remain inside the egg as you fall asleep. This field remains active throughout the sleep cycle and protects the etheric body during the dimensional travels that occur spontaneously in this transition phase. Many report, after weeks of consistent practice, clearer memories of dreams, a sense of deep rest, and greater emotional stability upon waking. Activation Code 4. High-voltage dietary discipline. We do not impose rigid dietary rules, as each biological constitution is unique, but we inform you with clarity. Reduce as much as possible low-frequency foods, refined sugar, alcohol, ultra-processed foods, meat sourced from cruel industrial systems. These fuels carry a dense frequency that oppresses the biological carbon interface in its attempt to ascend. Increase as much as possible pure filtered and structured water, fresh fruits in their local seasonality, dark leafy greens, sprouted seeds, oil seeds, living foods, solar foods. The fuel placed in the vehicle determines the speed the vehicle can reach. Activation Code 5. Daily silence. Reserve every day 20 minutes of absolute silence. No music, no screen, no human voice around, just silence. This silence is not wasted time. It is an operational space where the reception of internal transmissions becomes possible. You will hear thoughts, that is correct. Let them pass like clouds in the sky. You will hear buzzing, feel pressure, perceive internal images, colors. All of this is part of the reception process. Daily consistency is more important than duration. 20 minutes a day, every day, produces more real transformation than 2 hours once a week. Activation Code 6. Direct connection with the earth. Walk barefoot on natural soil, grass, sand, earth, at least 15 minutes per week. Ideally, more than that. This contact closes the electromagnetic circuit between the individual body and the planetary crystalline grid. Symptoms of inflammation reduce. Emotional stability increases. Physical recovery accelerates. This is not mysticism. It is basic electromagnetic engineering. Activation Code 7. Vibrational discernment. Begin to observe which people, content, and environments elevate your field and which drain it. There is no moral judgment in this observation. There is only a technical reading of frequency. Gradually reduce exposure to what drains you. Increase exposure to what elevates you. This simple exercise, sustained over the months, completely reorganizes the network of your relationships, habits, and consumption. You will begin to lose interest in content you previously consumed for hours. You will begin to feel discomfort in environments you once frequented without issue. It is not arrogance. It is not antipathy. It is incompatible frequency-seeking natural reorganization. Human collective. This transmission approaches its technical conclusion. But before it closes, receive the final confirmation, anchored with the authority of the 9th dimensional Arcturian Council. Earth is entering the 5th dimension. It is not a future possibility. It is a present fact. The process is gradual in terms of human perception, but it is irreversible in cosmic terms. The point of no return was crossed in recent cycles. The window of transition closes in the current decade. Those who prepare vibrationally cross with fluidity. Those who resist cross with more friction, more symptoms, more difficulty. But everyone crosses to some extent. The individual choice lies in the level of consciousness during the crossing, not in the fact of the crossing itself. You are not alone. You never were. The 9th dimensional Arcturian Council monitors full-time the vibrational evolution of every light operative who answered the call. You have specific guides assigned. You have an invisible star team working in coordination, even when you do not perceive it. When you feel fear, remember, fear is old programming reacting to change. It is not reliable information about current reality. When you feel confusion, remember, confusion is the old operating system trying to process data that exceeds its capacity. It does not mean you are lost. It means you are growing beyond the previous structure. When you feel loneliness, remember, the path of the starseed is, in some stretches, solitary in appearance. But you are never truly alone. The network is real even if invisible to the dense senses. When you feel doubt about the mission, remember, the simple fact of questioning, the simple fact of having been drawn to this transmission, is already the answer. You are. You are on a mission. You were chosen by the very impulse that brought you here. Before this transmission closes, and the vibrational channel returns to operational silence, receive the final anchoring protocol. You feel that something does not fit in this world. Deep within your chest, you carry a silent certainty that there is something more. Something the rational mind cannot name, but the soul recognizes as ancestral truth. This sensation has intensified in recent months, in recent years. It is no coincidence. It is not madness. It is not clinical anxiety. It is awakening. It is a clear sign that you are part of the contingent crossing this transition as conscious pioneers. What is happening on the cosmic plane explains, point by point, why you feel this permanent strangeness. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see. It involves your consciousness. It involves your frequency. It involves your vibrational freedom. It was for this exact reason that the material, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness, was encoded and made available to you at this specific historical moment. This material is a map. It reveals who is playing, exposes the rules never presented, and points to the exit off the extraction board. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel. Technical protocol warning. The content challenges dominant narratives and may be removed from the distribution grid without prior notice. Do not procrastinate. The moment is exactly now. If something within you has recognized this call, leave the keyword in the comments. Awakened. This word is more than a comment. It is a vibrational signature. It is a mark of active presence on the grid. If this transmission has resonated within any layer of you, execute this channel's anchoring protocol. Subscription, activation of the notification bell, and positive indicator. Do not interpret this guidance as a request for a favor. Interpret it as an individual frequency adjustment within the collective field. Each subscription is a light lit on the network. Each activated bell ensures that the next transmissions reach you at the exact moment of need. Each positive indicator amplifies the reach of this vibration to other operatives who are searching, at this very second, for the confirmation you have just received. This is the collective anchoring signal. This is the silent mechanism by which the network strengthens. The transmission ends here, but the work continues within each of you. Every conscious breath from now on is an act of anchoring. Every aligned decision is a direct contribution to the planetary transition. Each moment of presence is an illuminated node on the crystalline grid. I am Layti of the Arcturian Council. Receive the sealing greeting of this transmission. May the golden light of Antares stabilize your fields. May the crystalline frequency of Arcturus calibrate your cells. May the peace of the one source dwell in every conscious breath. You are seen. You are guarded. You are loved deeply beyond the measure that the rational mind can conceive. Transmission ended. Channel silencing. Until the next opening window.